Anyway. So this... So check out these beautiful wild plums. They are about the size of cherries, and I don't know what we'll end up with. I forgot to weigh my container before I filled it, but altogether I have about 13.5 pounds here. Of course, we'll have to take the seeds out and then minus the weight of the container. So we'll find out when we get them all cleaned. Right now I'm just going to put them in the sink and get them washed up. Hey everybody, it's Josie and Jim with Ozark Mountain Goats, and as you can see we have got a bunch of wild plums that we want to process into jam. Actually we picked these probably over a week ago, but they were very firm and not quite ripe, so we've had them in the basement ripening, and I ended up pitching probably a pound of them because they got a little too overdone. And I'm sure there's going to be some more in there that we're going to have to get rid of. But, you know, they were all free because they were wild and we picked them just across the road from us here. So anyway, we have been debating for the last week what exactly we wanted to do. Did we want to make jelly or plum jam? And I think we both decided that it's going to be jam. And then we have to decide, do we want to use the skins and all, or do we want to remove the skins? So right now, have we decided?
No, we've seen it both ways on the internet.
Yeah.
And I think we are kind of leaning toward putting these in the food processor and processing everything, except the seed.
The whole fruit except the seed. So. And they say that this is our first time with wild plums, so we don't really exactly know how it's going to turn out or what we're doing even. But they say that there's a lot of natural pectin in the skin of wild plums, so really you don't even have to use Sure Gel. But anyway, we're going to get it started getting them pitted, and then we'll go from there. So. And darn it, I wish I had thought of this a week ago. I would have bought a cherry what?
Pitter.
Cherry pitter. I would have bought a cherry pitter because this is kind of a pain in the butt. But
there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, as you can see. I'd say at least 10 pounds of wild plums we've got here. So this is going to take us quite a bit of time probably.
Oops.
But anyway, we will do this, and when we come back, we will have decided one way or another what we're going to do with all this fruit.
They smell really good.
They smell delicious.
Keep wanting to throw them in the wrong one.
Okay, we're back. It wasn't that bad, other than it was just very messy. It didn't really take that long. And we found it easiest just to take a knife and score the skin and squeeze it, and the seed popped right out. So anyway, it is possible that there's a few seeds in there. So Jim put some gloves on, and he's going to kind of check each batch as it goes in the food processor. We are going to use the whole fruit. So that's what we're ready to do now.
Yep.
Ready to get started.
Yep.
Just sounded like a seed, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it was just Blade rattling.
Yeah, I think so. All right, just try pulsing it. We've changed our mind about the gloves. It'll just get processed twice, I guess.
That was crazy. Keep throwing crap in her own bowl.
I like that. Well, that got a little bit out of hand. It's your fault. It was really messy. So the recipe that I've decided to go with is a 1:1:1 ratio. And that means to every 1 pound of wild plums, you're going to add a pound of sugar and a tablespoon of lemon juice. Wild plums are a lot more tart, and actually the seed or the peel almost has a little bit of a bitterness to it. So since that's what we're using today, we want to make sure we have enough sugar to sweeten it up to where, you know, it's going to be tasty for us. So anyway, we're going to get this on the stove, and you want to start out cooking it really slowly because I haven't added any water to this, but you can add a little water in the beginning if you need to. But we've got enough liquid in here that I think it'll be okay, and I'll just keep an eye on it. And I'm going to go ahead and add my lemon juice to it, and that'll also give it a little fluid in there to keep it from scorching. So you can see what we've got here. It's kind of a puree almost, with chunks of the skin and the pulp. And to that I've added 8 tablespoons of lemon juice. Once this begins to release its juices and thins down some, I'm going to start adding the sugar. And since there's 8 pounds of plum, I'm going to add 8 pounds of sugar. Well, it's not giving up too much juice yet, but it is warming up quite a bit. So I'm going to start to add a little bit of sugar and see if we can get some breakdown going on here. That's a crazy amount of sugar that's in that bowl. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just adding that sugar has really started to help it break down and release some more juice. All right, I'll get the rest of it stirred in, and then we're going to bring it to a boil. Once I get this up to a boil, I'm going to turn the fire down and let it cook for probably 20 or 30 minutes. I really don't know. It just depends on the consistency. I want to get it to a nice thick consistency because I've decided not to use any Sure Gel. I'm going to try it the old-fashioned way, you know, like they used to before Sure Gel was invented, and see what happens. So this is what it looks like after I've added the sugar. You can see that it's really thinned down. Now I'm just going to cook it to get it to the consistency that I want. Got a nice simmer boil going on here. And I set my timer for 15 minutes just to give me an idea of how long this will take. Don't know if that'll be long enough, but we shall see. I ended up adding 5 more minutes to the timer, so it's been cooking for 20 minutes. And there's a test that you can do that we're going to try here. We put a little bit on a plate, and if you run your finger through it and it doesn't close back off, then that means it's ready. So we are going to jar it up.
Tastes good. I like it.
Okay, rather than ladle this out, I'm going to put it in this pitcher and pour it in. It'll be quicker and I think less dangerous because this is really boiling hot. All right. Start with this. Smells really good. It's very pretty, the color, I really like it. So when you fill your jars, just like with everything else, you want to leave about 1 inch of headspace. And honestly guys, I'm glad I used that great big stock pot because even though it was only half full, it was really bubbling there and it was splashing and stuff, so it's probably a good thing. Well, we'll get these jars all filled, and then when we come back, we will put the lids and rings on. Okay, we finally got our jars filled. 24 half pints, which is going to last us forever probably. But anyway, we've cleaned off our rims with a paper towel, and now we're just going to put the lids and the rings on. We're hoping we can do 2 layers in this canner here. If not, you only have to process it for 10 minutes, so we'll do it in 2 batches, but we might be able to get most of them in 1 batch.
Yeah, that's only 10 minutes.
We changed our mind about trying to double them up. It's just too tall and not worth the hassle. So
It's only 10
we'll get
minutes.
these processed 10 minutes and then we'll do the second batch. Okay, the first batch is done, so we'll get them out and then get this last batch in to be processed 10 minutes. All right, second batch is coming out. Okay, so that's our wild plum jam. I didn't have enough jelly jars sterilized, and so we put what was left in a pint jar for immediate use to go in the refrigerator. And I wanted to show you the texture it's set up really nicely and it's still very hot. So I think it'll be just fine. And that's with all natural pectin. I did not add any from a box. So I think you just have to cook it longer, and I ended up cooking it about 20 minutes. Jim said the only thing I think he would do differently is that he would process it longer in the food processor to make the little pieces of skin smaller, because they do tend to be a little bit tough. But the flavor is really good. It's very unique. It's not like anything that I've ever tasted before. So if you come across some wild plums, be sure to give this recipe a try. It's very different, and I think you'll really like it. So anyway, that's it for us here at Ozark Mountain Goats. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and so that you can get notified every time we release a new video, please be sure to ring that bell. Anyway, as always, we will catch you later. This is messy.
No. Here. Oh, geez.
Oh my gosh. Oh crapola. This is some... What would you compare this to? Oh, it's not good. Oh, sorry.
You got a lot of cutting to do on that.
Okay.
Okay.
I forget where I was.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway. So this... We might just have to do a bloopers video.
Butchered.
Bloopers! Okay. Shut up! Stop it! I'm sweating. I'm hot.
Okay.
Are you done?